But still a single for Bob Crawshaw as he creeps closer to the 17 points already scored by Terry Moss. 13-17 the score now.
Well, we have a gamble again, Hugh. We're going into the opposite corners. Now's the time to lead. Just a couple of doubles between them. Funny game by Crawshaw. He set off with quite a charge, having trailed 6-0 and then put together a nice run of 8, 4 doubles. But since then, he's just been picking up the odd ones. Well, that's a good lead.
Terry, who has been sticking to short marks whenever he had the block in his hand, certainly hasn't found this much longer one into the corner. There, an indication that if you just fail to find the land only by a matter of inches, this very tricky green will send your ball off in all kinds of directions. That certainly hasn't got the legs.
Got away with it, Bob Crawshaw. He's still breathing. Yes. Still in there for 1. Do you know they're even having a look for 2? He fancies it.
He does indeed.
This may well be a measuring job.
What do you think, Terry?
Terry has invited his opinion.
Terry
declines
his own ball.
Well, he does. Yes, he declines. He's not conceding.
One, yes, the 1 against the 2.
This is the mark where they would spray all over the place if they just missed the road in.
Yes, a fair illustration to people who don't know this Carmel Green all that well of the undulations, the little dips and valleys that can throw your ball way off the target that you had planned. A single then, the measure not in Bob Crawshaw's favour, and he closes the gap. 14-17, just 3 points in it now. Again, he sets out across the green into the corner. Perhaps not quite as deep as he could have done.
I think they're a little frightened of going too deep, Hewing, because of getting them out. It's getting away from that area once you have settled the end. He's got a length wood, but again, he won't be too happy. It's got to be beaten. Well, those are the problems. Moss turning away.
Hasn't got the running, has it?
It's so testing. They're all different. Every mark is different. There's nothing consistent at all.
Yes. And as if the pressure of the occasion wasn't enough for these two bowlers, they're having to perform in really hot sunshine here at Carmel.
Not sure here. Crawshaw took a long look at it. If he can sneak past and not promote. Has he done any damage? He has done damage. Oh dear.
Well, that was the one thing he did not want. Now it gives the block back to Terry Moss, regardless of where this last delivery winds up. If he creeps through for 2, yes, he has.
2.
He's now in a very, very hot winning situation, leading 19-14. So he can win it on this mark. Just up over the crown, down the other side. Really is a very, very short mark. 19 meters, remember, is the shortest permitted mark to be set. Bob Crawshaw not objecting to it, not requiring the measurers out to see if it's a legal mark. He accepts it. reckons he can win it, and probably has with that bowl, although it's well short. Oh, that's won it. But one is all that Terry Moss can hope now to get on this end. Robert Crawshaw desperately wants to get this block back. No, he has gone out.
Moss.
So 20-14, Terry Moss now leads. Just one to go for Terry Moss to join the other Warwickshire and Worcester bowler, Paul Gamsby, in the second round of this competition, the Greenall County Classic here at Carmel. And that might not stay on the green. Yes, it did. The slope of this green goes very, very sharply away from what, about 6 or 8 inches beyond where this mark has been set. The yellow bowl of Terry Moss trickling down the slope. Bang in the road. Difficult for Bob Crawshaw. He's got to get round that bowl with enough running to get round it, but not too much. And there it's gone. It's gone. Well, that just shows you how vicious that slope is there. He wasn't more than 8 to 10 inches past the block, and it looked as though he'd stopped. But the slope took over, and away goes the ball. So only one bowl on the green belongs to Terry Moss. He just needs the 1 point to win the match. Oh. Well, if this bowl of Robert Crawshaw's does not change the situation, he's got weight, he's out, and Terry Moss wins his first round match against Robert Crawshaw, 21-14. And what a remarkable game of bowls it is. Crawshaw knocked out in the first round last year by the man who went on to win the Greenall County Classic, Norman Fletcher. Really thought he knew this green, really thought he was going to get something here this morning, but he is knocked out in the first round again. Just repeating that scoreline: Terry Moss 21, Robert Crawshaw 14.
Well, I wonder whether Bob Crawshaw did select the right woods after all. No excuses. And well done, Terry Moss. Yet another bowler, Brian Brett, who's just come out of the commentary box, who hasn't had enough time really to practice on this green, but who adapted to it so well.
Pretty well. He read it well, didn't he? I think he found some nice sort of fiddling marks just off the crown and into those difficult areas, and he got his lead away pretty well. He's a good bowler. We talk about choice of woods, but having got choice of woods, you've still got to bowl the right bowls, haven't you?
I know many people at home might think we're making too much of the green, but hasn't it speeded up this morning?
It's much quicker, isn't it? It's a lovely day, and there's a breeze there that'll also take a lot of sting out of the grass, so it's much quicker. They did do a good shaving job on it, I thought, this morning. Now it's a real test, and it's going to get faster and faster. At the end of it all, whoever wins is going to be a true champion.
That's right. Well, appropriately now, it's the end of the first round, so let's have a look, Brian, at the county championship table. And we can see that 3 counties there, Greater Manchester, South Yorkshire and Wales. 4 counties, in fact, Warwickshire and Worcestershire too. Of course, Terry Moss just having won there, with maximum points.
Yes, and of course Cheshire have just gone, haven't they? Robert Crawshaw has just gone the same way as Stan Frith, so Cheshire very much out of it. They're talking here, you know, around the green about Greater Manchester going all the way with Burrows in one half and Armson very impressive early on in the other half. But South Yorkshire, Wales are surprised there. The Midlands have done well too, haven't they? The North Midlands just knocking on the door.
Lancashire and North Midlands, they both figure on that caption there because they lost 2 of their games but scored 20 points, 20 chalks.
That's right. Norman Fletcher for Lancashire contributed 20 and Peter Varney contributed 20 in that cliffhanger of a game last night against Robert Hitchin. So it's important all the way. I mean, there's 500 quid for the winning county, 250 for the runners-up.
And of course, £1,750 for the winner of this year's Greenalls County Classic. Who's your money on?
Well, my money will be on whatever you're not on, Elton, having seen your performance earlier today. So I'm going to go for Greater Manchester. I've got my Bolton Wanderers tie on, incidentally, so we're just in the Greater Manchester area, so I'm going to go for Greater Manchester.
Known as a shrewd judge, Brian. Let's have another look at one of those tricky marks on this green. When we saw Jed Marsh a little earlier, he picked out the one in the bottom right-hand corner as being the most difficult. Jed's with us again. Now, we played a sort of non-competitive game here, Jed, just to illustrate how difficult it is.
Yes, we're playing into this corner where the ridge extends for 4 or 5 yards, we said previously. And if you don't follow block land, you can be in all kinds of trouble. You certainly must follow it and not get underneath the block. If you go underneath the block, you can go anywhere.
You're playing thumb here.
I'm playing thumb peg, yes, into this corner.
It's gone against the bias, hasn't it? Fallen against.
Slightly, but if you go underneath that block, you'll find out you're in trouble.
You'll notice here, Brian, that I've gone finger peg. I know that it's not the thing to do. It's just to illustrate. Look at that, the difference.
A tremendous difference, and that's just sort of an inch or two off the land when you start, isn't it? And when you finish, you're about 6 yards away.
Elton was very little off the land, but going finger peg, he had no chance of getting anywhere near that block.
What sort of woods are you using there?
£2.12 the
wood.
Vita. They're wood, yes. I like wood on this green.
What about the plastic, the composition ones in here?
Well, they're quite good, but I've always stuck to wood on it, and I find out they act very well.
And that was yesterday, was it? Or was earlier this week?
That was earlier this week.
And it's not running as fast, obviously.
Oh no,
it
was a shade stiff on Sunday, but now the weather's nice and slight breeze. It's going to go.
And you played a league match here last night.
We played a league match last
course.
night, and we won.
What start do you give? About 15?
We had to give 24 starts.
24. You should give about 50 on this green.
Yeah, just one last question. Local knowledge. They always say it's very important on this green. Are you surprised at the number of local bowlers who failed?
I am really, because the two lads who played, Gerard Gregson and Paul Gartside, very good bowlers locally, but they didn't seem to quite adapt. They can bowl much better than that. I've seen them bowl very, very well. Just maybe overawed, I don't know. But very good bowlers, yes, big occasion for them.
All right, well, it's the end of the first round, and we've got another huge crowd here at the Carmel Hotel on a delightful morning. And just look at that. The sun blazing down. The first round has now finished. We've seen the county championship table, and this is the first of the second round matches between Bruce Conway of Wales, who beat Gerald Gregson, Jed just mentioned him in the first round, and Roy Armson, who beat Phil Owen. You'd expect Armson to do well. He's put in a lot of practice, but at the moment he's trailing by 3 chalks to 0. Continuation of play. Let's join Hugh Johns.
And Roy Armson struggling to find this green so far. Just 3 marks have been set, and Bruce Conway's won every single one of them, just picking up a single each time. Bruce gaining extra inspiration, I'm sure, by having seen his Welsh comrade Martin win this morning. Martin Halliwell, rather. Roy Armson well short.
Two, right? Conway, 2!
Yes, and double now for Bruce Conway. And he takes a 5-0 lead, and Roy Armson getting just a little of his own medicine back, because in his first round match he really ran away with things with Phil Owen. And here he is trailing 5-0 after just 4 ends. This is the 5th. And there, Bruce failing to find the land entirely. Weight was wrong. Roy pushing it out, needing to get on the board. Yes, the bowl held up nicely. Bruce daren't be short with his second. Just curves away out down the bottom side. And I think the old adage that when the sun shines, so does Roy Armson, should be in his favour now. As he gets on the board with a double.
Armson, 2.
And the sun really is beating down here on the audience at the Carmel Hotel. The bars inside also doing a fair trade.
Yes, Hugh, there'll be some beer shifted today, I can tell you. 5-2 Conway over Armson. Armson having led in that first game against Phil Owen 5-1 and then 7-1, 9-2.
Roy's on a good road. Bruce on a much tighter line.
He's all right,
reached.
though. Conditions have changed since these two were last on the green, of course, in serious competition. It was a little bit slow first day, but it's quickened up the last couple of days, and conditions vastly different.
Roy got that one all wrong.
He'll be annoyed with himself. He got it so right in practice. Conway arrived a little after Armson. They were both on the green together, looking smart in practice, looking very sharp.
Conway, 2.
So Bruce picks up 2. Bruce Conway has a 7-2 advantage.
Well, this is a bit cheeky, isn't it? This is Conway taking Armson all the way into the corners. All the way across the split crowns. Looks a good length. It's his road that's the problem. And his road is way off. Took a sharp turn away as it approached the jack. Armson will have read that. Taking a completely different road. I'm not improved. I just have got it, but they're miles away. Inviting gaps straight through a win it.
Oh, it's difficult. Not as bad as it was 2 years ago, though. But it's
That's, of course, the mark we've just been talking about with Jed Marsh, the local player here, the homester in Elton Wells. We have demonstrated earlier in the week. Running much quicker now, but it makes a mug of you. If you're wrong, Armson looks way through. Well through.
It's fortunately for him not far enough, I think, to give Bruce another one. Just a single, but a very useful one. So 8-2 Bruce Conway's lead, and Roy Armson certainly looking very, very thoughtful out there. Saw him practicing this morning and took the opportunity to talk to him. He is a knowledgeable, great thinker of the game of bowls, and wondered what changes he might just have seen in the green today as compared with Monday when he first played on it, when you played your first match on it.
When I played my first match, it was drizzling with rain. I would say, in our terms, it's about 4 feet faster this morning, yes. It's been mown, it's very nicely prepared, just that little bit faster.
What does that mean in actual fact, 4 feet faster?
Well, it just means that going down the slopes, you've just got to hold the ball back a little bit and let it do its own running down, whereas on Monday you had to push it down the slope.
And what steps are you taking to adjust to this new situation?
Well, I'm third game this morning, and I'm just going to look at it. As it stands at the moment, I'm okay. I shall play with my normal balls. But if it gets any faster, then I shall change to a pair of plastic balls.
Well, I wonder indeed whether Roy may be feeling at this moment that perhaps he ought to have made that change prior to this game.
Yes, whatever he is thinking, Hugh, there's no question of him changing. Whatever wood you start with, you finish with, unless they're damaged.
But 8-2 down is not exactly the situation that Roy envisaged.
He's come right back.
He came here this morning. He's well in though. He certainly reached and found that mark very well indeed. That only the second time that Roy has been able to get the block into his hands.
Roy has a habit of looking around a green before he settles on a mark, and yet in his own mind, you know, he really must know where he's going. Tosses the jack up and down. It's a little sign of the nervous tension he feels. He looks a cool customer, but when he tosses that jack up and down in his hand, it's just a sign of him trying to settle down. Shortened it greatly.
Yes, that block going out is on something of a roller coaster ride there. I think he would have been a little unhappy with that lead bowl.
Yes, he has picked some difficult turf over there because they fall and then they rise as they approach the jack, and if they run too much they may just run through like that. So this time he wants to get one right on the jack. I think we'll settle for that.
Very tidy.
That is within striking distance, but it's so bumpy he's going to play up. Tried hard.
Probably saved. Yes. Just one for Roy Armson. He had been holding two there. So Roy again contemplating where he will go.
He's going back to where he started here. What he doesn't want to do is throw the jack off and push it as far as he can. It's a difficult piece of land again because there are a couple of ridges down there and there's a very nasty hollow. Got it right. Oh yes.
Yes, that's a bowl and a half, that one. Bruce will be lucky if he can find one to beat it. He's trying hard. By golly, he is trying.
It's dangerous because Armson can't afford to touch that. If he topples over the Conway wood, it's in. Very careful adjustment. Yes, he's short and he's in the road, but he's not sufficiently in the road to make him really confident.
Bruce can afford to go up with some weight.
Just needs to hit his own.
He's after the yellow ball. Very nearly got it too.
Always wait for Conway to arrive, if only to see how close he got to all that.
Yes.
Armson, one!
He really did have a little bit of bad luck with his first bowl. It was a very fine delivery indeed. But another single for Roy Armson, and the scoreline now: Bruce Conway 8, Roy Armson 5.
The important thing being that it's off the mat and it's Armson with the jack, and it's Armson going back along an edge. He feels he can pinch a few points. He won't want to stay there too long because Conway's going to read it very quickly. He needs to run up to the jack. Leading reasonably well.
That'll do. And just a fairly wide target.
Unless he's going to peg now. Might nudge the jack. Oh, it's a good reply. Now then.
I think he might have just gone out, though, having kissed the block. No indication that time from referee Jack Isherwood as to who was holding.
I think Armson must have been confident, but that's run through again. Now they're going to give some advice. A bit late, really. Armson could have done with some confirmation.
The yellow ball's favourite.
He clearly knew he was in. There are times when crown green bowlers really ought to take a leaf out of the flat green book and come and have a look, and that is exactly what Conway, in his own pedestrian, policeman-like style, is doing at this moment.
Always a stone-faced sort of man, Bruce Conway. He
Yes.
has a superstition that he confesses to, that he's afraid he's going to die before he gets the chance to win the Waterloo. If that isn't pessimism, I don't know what is.
Well, they run another competition up there when you get there, I'm told. Plenty of practice. He's taken a long time, hasn't he? He's now got to get that land right. That's why they don't like going up and having a look, because in their own minds they forget the marks that they're aiming for and looking for. And has he got it right? No.
So if Jack Isherwood's eye was anything to go by, Roy Armson has picked up a single here.
Armson, 1.
So the gap closes from 5-0 down. Roy Armson very much back in this game at 8-6.
At 8-6. Armson the 6, but Armson with the block, and Armson again persevering with this mark.
Place in the quarter-final at stake. Roy on a good road.
It's a good lead.
There's no doubt about it. Roy Armson has now found a piece of land which is very, very much to his liking, and he's clawing his way back into this game. And certainly now he will feel that he has got the winning of it. Certainly got the winning of this end, and is this a second coming in? Looks good. Bruce Conway 2 to beat.
Well, there's still room here at the Carr Mill Hotel in St Helens. If you want to pop down this afternoon, I'm sure the big crowd already here will testify that it's a very convivial way to spend the day. If it's too far, then we'll be back at 1:30 this afternoon. Join us then. The Sun's playing hide and seek this afternoon, but having said that, nothing seemed to deter the crowds here in St Helens. We've had some excellent bowling this week, and as we just about reached the halfway stage, we thought it about time we let Hugh Johns out of the commentary box. I think one thing that's improved this week so far, Hugh, is that it's from Cumbria right down to North Midlands, the Isle of Man and Wales. There is a very high standard of crown green bowling in this country.
Oh, I think that's absolutely certain, and proven by the quality that we've seen here. In changing conditions too. I mean, we remember the rains of Monday morning, the brightness of yesterday, the belting sun here today. A tricky green in any case, which is always changing, and yet these fellows have turned in some absolutely scintillating bowls, and favourites tumbling out left, right and centre. You never know where you are.
That's right, we've had one or two shocks, you
Indeed.
can say that. And a cracking game that we saw earlier too between Roy Armson and Bruce Conway. One of the best this week.
Indeed, yes. I mean, you had everything that game, didn't we? We had Roy desperately behind for a long time, pulling himself back up again, Conway going away at seesawed, all the way through it. It really was a cracking match.
Well, we've got an advantage because we know the score. Everyone at home doesn't, because that's the game that you all had to leave at midday. Armson against Conway, Greater Manchester against Wales, both counties with maximum points so far, so something had to give, and understandably, as Hugh said, it was a very close match throughout. Let's see how it developed. At the point we join it, Armson's leading 14-13, but Conway's just picked up a single, and it's heater lead.
Not a bad lead. That's again a difficult area. Either side of the jack are hollows. Is Armson any better? Is he any better? Needs a hit. Oof, needed a firmer contact.
That little touch kept him on the green, but out of the count. There for the winning for Roy Armson. Needs to beat the length bowl. Whoa,
Pull up,
whoa,
gotta pull
whoa.
up.
Nope. A rackety sort of end that.
Conway, 2.
2 Bruce Conway gets out of that. So he's got his nose in front by a single point at 15-14.
And chances there missed by Armson at the last 2 ends. It's allowing Conway to get straight across the green. He did well on this particular mark in his first game. He raced away from the local man Gerald Gregson for a 21-5 win, but this time his lead is not clever by any means. He's 2 yards short, a good 2 yards short. Now Roy Armson, another fine chance.
Oh, he's going to hit the ball. Would you believe it? Two balls in the road now for Bruce Conway. He needs to take a slightly larger slice of land.
That could be dangerous, Hugh, as we know. Has he got it right? No, 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 no. Well, he's counting 2, but they're all over the place again. Third chance that Armson has had.
He's going to hit again.
Get through.
He's going to hit
He's
again.
done enough.
But he's done enough, I think, to trickle through and possibly win it. What a couple of scrappy ends there, back to back. Well, 15 across and they can start again now.
Start again,
forget,
Armson with the
the
jack,
last
of
2.
course.
Well, that's more like it.
Yes, back into the rhythm again. Armson even Stephen, but he set the mark.
Conway again on a good line, striding away after his bowl.
Peg
It's
away.
curving away. Strange, both players seem to have lost the rhythm, concentration, and quality. Oh, that was so close.
It ran through a shade. Armson will want to have a good look at this.
Conway, one!
And Conway gets a single and goes in front at 16-15. Might just have thrown this off. No, it just stays. If it had gone another 6 inches, it would have been in the gutter. And that's what they've got to be careful about with their bowls now. Got it dead right.
Perfect length. Still run on another foot.
That only needs a little extra cool breeze across this green, and it will blow it down into the gutter. Armson much too cautious. He's too worried about that mark.
Well, he's got one on. He could always try and knock the other one off, of course. All depends where this one goes. Conway's second wood. Narrower road in. Just keep it on. Running up towards the jack.
Oh, he's got a couple of beauties there. Boy, pushing that bowl out.
Now then.
That's better.
Now then. Has it got
Go on, 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 go on. It gave up. It's 2. 18-15. Score in Bruce Conway's favour. Bruce now feeling that he's got the winning of this match and a place in the quarterfinal in his sights. 18-15. Pushing that one away up a steep slope from the footer.
What a bit of rough land on the way over the crown here. That might have taken something out of the running. Do not worry about that.
That homed in very nicely. Hard one to beat. And it's a long way to deliver.
Well, Armson picked up the same rough land. He's just cut away across the head.
Clearly illustrates how difficult it is.
Well, this looks miles away. Lost it completely. That's gone a roving.
Oh, 3 bowls delivered, and only one of them of any consequence at all.
Only one within sight of the jack.
Been any good bowling today? Look.
Armson just trying to take this wood out, knowing he's got the other one. Yeah, well, now has he done it? Has it gone far enough? No. No. Not a good enough contact.
Unlucky.
Yeah, fine strike, long distance, 55 yards. From this green, fine hit. Not quite good enough.
So that should give Bruce Conway a 19-15 advantage, and indeed it does. So 4 points on these last 3 marks from the moment they were level at 15 across,
Just finished school, Jimmy.
puts Conway in the driving seat.
Well, we should finish this afternoon, but we're not going in.
2 on this mark, and he's in the quarterfinals.
So I'm not going in, going round the way. Not bad.
Looks good.
My best ones are.
Woo, woo, woo.
It did look good. It ran on a couple of feet, but he had an excellent way in. Armson very similar. Armson won't be unhappy at this mark.
Run a bit.
Got to still run. Got to
Go
run.
on.
Go on down now. Yes.
Lie down.
Conway, different land, and has missed it. I was saying about this corner, Hugh, that if you miss it by an inch, you finish up yards wide. What a good time for 2. Same land as the second Conway would.
Now good. A single then for Roy Armson. The gap closes to 1916.
Armson, 1.
Well, vantage point for at least one gentleman in the Carr Mill Hotel, looking down over a fine audience here on a superb green on a beautiful Wednesday morning. Roy with the block back in his hand.
Not quite far enough. Got a couple of nasty jumps in on the way. He might be in the road. Oh, he's done well. Now he's got to stop. Look at the running. Run out. Well, this time Armson, same way in, but just a yard into the running.
Squeezed past his first ball.
That's good. That is good.
Spot on.
I'll tell you what, Hugh, at 19-15, there's a backwood there. Conway wants advice. It's 2 against Conway, but he has the backwood. If he can spring that jack towards his own, asking a lot.
That doesn't look to have the running.
I think he needed a ball with some weight in. A bad delivery. That was a mistake.
Yes, 1 for certain. Probably 2. Well, it's close. So Bruce is not...
That's 2. It's 2.
Armson, 2.
Yes, it is 2. 1918.
And whatever the outcome of this game, both players have made a useful contribution to the county situation.
And as you'd expect in this second round match, both bowlers finding it much tougher now than they did in the early stages.
That's a good lead.
Roy Armson beating Phil Owen 21-14. Conway beating Gerald Gregson 21-5. And here it's much, much tighter. Bruce Conway 19-18 in front. Roy Armson went bang on the block with his lead. Conway a long way past.
Armson, the shrewd tactician, will know where he wants to put this ball. Whether or not he gets it there is a different matter. He's gone in for 2. Gone in for 2.
Yes, that's a good 2 because to get rid of both those balls on a strike is not all that easy.
Not easy, but he's got the backwood again, Hugh. So if he gets it right, he could
Bounced
work
it
for
away.
2. Missed it.
Oh, missed it by a mile. So 2 to Roy Armson, and he's in front at 20-19. So Roy putting 5 points on the board in a row. He's now in a winning position.
He's in a winning position. Can he gamble on another short mark again? He's played the last two very well, got him close. He invited the strikes that didn't work Conway's way. He's going to go again. Go again, lead well, and the pressure then all on Conway. The game that was in his grasp for winning over the last 4 ends, he's now in danger of losing.
This lead bowl is so important. It's the one that could put the pressure.
Run on, they say. Run on, run on.
A little bit more.
It could have been better. It's got to be beaten. Again, he's got to run on.
He hangs his head. Hangs his head.
Disturbed, can't believe it. What more can I do? Don't disturb anything, Armson. Get away from those woods.
Roy was not happy with that at all.
I should think not. Don't be short is the advice to Conway. He can't be short. Armson certainly lying game, but beatable.
That's got more running.
What about the road? Can he get through?
He's going to hit something. No.
He's promoted.
Oh dear. And Bruce Conway throws the footer down in some anger with himself. He had the winning of it at 19:15, and Roy Armson puts together 6 shots in a row to win it 21-19.
Well, Roy, it was quite a finish. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very hard game, and Bruce is always a smashing lad to play and deserves everything he gets in the game. The distance he has to travel to all these competitions from Colwyn Bay, it's always a pleasure to play him.
You seem to be completely downcast at the end, because you did have the chance there.
Well, yes, you could say there was a chance. Yeah, very difficult though right at the end. You know, Roy's woods were right in the way. I tried to play it slightly higher to get past, but he just dropped down into the back of it.
Did you think that Bruce might win there when it was 1916? He was within striking distance.
Yeah, I think we've both tended to play a little bit in and out. We've struggled for a length. If anything, the green seems to have gone a little bit heavier. And the only place where I thought we could play very near balls was in that trolley, you see. And it's just as Bruce says, if you get one near, it's very difficult for the other man to pass. But he played well up to that stage. He had me rocking.
What lost it for you, do you think?
Roy started putting them closer than me. Traditionally, they're always very close games between Roy and myself, you know, and I echo what he says. I thoroughly enjoy playing him. He's a great competitor, and I wish him the very best of luck for the rest of the competition.
Well, it's nice to have Wales here this week. First man to reach the quarter-final stage, and Greater Manchester now with a clear lead at the top of the county championship table, maximum points still. Well, you'll be able to find out who Roy Armson will play in his next match after this break. Armson is going to play in the quarterfinals. Live coverage here at the Carmel Hotel of the second round match, and which has reached a very interesting stage too. Mel Evans of Staffordshire, that's him, leading by 14 chalks to 12. But Keith Widdowson of Derbyshire really fighting back after being 9-0 down in the early stages. And I do think he's picked up one more chalk to make it 14-13. So yet another game which has reached a neck-and-neck stage. Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
Absolutely right, Elton. 14-13, the lead of Mel Evans now. And this has been yet another dramatic comeback to add to the many that we've already seen in, what, 2.5 days of crown bowling here at Carmel. It really has been a remarkable game, and perhaps to an extent, Brian, Keith Widdowson's fight back justifying the bookies who had him 6-4 on to win this match.
That's right, Hugh. That rather surprised me, because I'd have gone for Evans, who was at evens to win the heat. He built up a terrific start. He counted 4 doubles in the first 5 ends. He led 9-0, and now 14-13, and it's anybody's game.
just about...
That's won it.
That's just about won it, I think. Stayed out quite a distance.
Yes, that's won it. Dead level.
Frank Kitchen, the referee, confirms it.
That's
Here's
the target, yes, and the gap's there.
That's got it.
Length.
Okay. Okay, Keith.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, that's not allowed. There's a spectator with his feet on the green. Heels on his shoes, that's not allowed, sir. Good job Norman Fletcher's not striking.
So, 15-13, the score to Mel Evans now. And it's 4 ends since he managed to get his hands on the block. Just about held.
Well, that's been condemned. Completely missed it. Evans did all his damage in the corners. He won the toss. He went straight for the scoreboard corner. He put him very close indeed. It looked like something of a charge early on. Widdowson, to his credit, come all the way back, but in these corners Evans is bowling him as well as anybody. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Lying two.
Keith Widdowson doesn't have the legs.
Quarter ridge as well. Should now peg away.
Evans, 2.
So the game beginning to swing away from Keith Widdowson. 17-13 down he is.
Keith Widdowson, 32-year-old plumber from the Derbyshire area. Great advert for Derbyshire, gets involved in competitions, in organising competitions. One of the great travellers of the game, plays in the big sweeps in the northwest. Over at Blackpool, keen competitor. Got a lot to do now.
Difficulties, of course, playing against a left-hander like Mel Evans. Keith Widdowson unable then really to judge the line and length by the lead bowl from Mel.
Yes, he's got to find his own way in at every end. Just running out of steam.
It's under as much as Mel was over, though I might curiously look, it might just be the winning bowl of the two at the moment. Can't believe that that is going to decide this mark, though. Oh, Mel adjusted perfectly from his first delivery. Vantage points all around this super arena here at St Helens, the back of the Carmel Hotel.
I think that's known as hedging your bets there. What a beautiful shot.
Oh, brilliant stuff.
Well, what a marvellous shot. But Mel Evans, the 34-year-old auditor from Staffordshire, organiser of the Mitchell and Butler Olympia competition down there. That attracts 1,024 entries these days.
And I'm joined up here with the man who will play the winner of this pair that are on the green at the moment, Roy Armson. Where's your money on one of these two at the moment, Roy?
Very intriguing situation, isn't it? I think I would favour Mel, but having said that, that's a real good lead on that particular mark. Very, very close.
Keith has made, as you have seen earlier before you came up here, the most remarkable comeback from 9-0 down to only 17-14 down.
Just gone.
What's the real sort of difficulty on this particular mark, Roy? Because you were playing it in your match a couple of times.
Yeah, the difficulty is that you know it's a fast part of the green, but only in the finish, so you've got to get it up over the hill and then down. And it's easy to leave it on the top and easy just to skate past, as this one has done just now.
Yes, the swing down
He's
behind
15
that
inch off and you're 2 foot
is
6
quite steep.
behind.
I think you have a theory, in fact, Roy, that this green actually isn't running as fast as some people think.
Absolutely right, Hugh. Yes, I think in our game that we found, in fact, that it was a little bit heavier. We felt that the moisture had brought up the sun had brought up the moisture.
Well, we'll develop that in a moment, but that was a super bowl in from Mel Evans then. And an 18-14 advantage he now has. Yes, you were saying that the sun has actually brought moisture up into it.
We thought that, yes. We found it in the early part of the game difficult just to judge the length, and it was much easier, therefore, to play on shorter marks, which is what I did at the finish. Mel's in a very commanding position now and going for the mark, going back to play in the corners.
So making a point just now, the difficulties of bowlers bowling against a left-handed bowler. You then don't get the line, do you?
Absolutely right, yes. The left-handers vary a little bit. Mel isn't a true left-hander. He isn't so difficult to follow, but a lot of the situations on this green start out at the footer end. If you're slightly offline at the footer end, then it magnifies itself at the other end. So it is a problem.
Well, Mel got a very good lead to this mark.
You've got to knock it a yard.
The first bowl of Keith Widdowson about a yard in front of the block. He wants to skate round it. He certainly doesn't want to come in on it. Oh, he has knocked it. That's the one thing he did not want to do. Now, has he knocked it in?
I just like the brown one.
Just likes the brown one, which in effect means the yellow one. Mel Evans bowling brown bowls. So Keith going up with his last, knowing that he's got to try and pull it back, and he is going to promote the yellow bowl in for 2. Oh, well, what an upset that was. Both bowlers pulling off shots that they did not want, and it's Mel Evans who's come out the luckier of the 2. So if referee Frank Kitchen was right in the first place that Mel was on for 1, yes, he is. Mel Evans has got 2, and he's certainly in a match-winning situation here now. 20-14, which perhaps doesn't surprise you. Roy, you were saying earlier that you fancied Mel of the 2.
Yes, I just fancied him, and he's doing exactly what I thought. He's going now for a long mark in the theory that if he gets one in this corner, anywhere within a yard, it's a real good bowl, and not easy to get up to strike or to hit.
Well, Mel setting this block deep into the corner. It's just running away underneath. Not perhaps the pressure bowl that he would have liked to have delivered. But nevertheless, Keith Widdowson has got to produce something here, or he's out of the competition. That's coming well. Go on, go on, go on, go on.
1-8.
That's the one at the moment. There's one for Mel Evans to beat. You tended to stay away from the corners yourself, noticeably this morning, Roy.
Yes, well, Bruce started off in the corners and played them that bit better than I did, so I thought I had to find somewhere a little bit unusual. And I played at the bottom of the green, which I felt that was that particular case.
Well, Keith is staying alive here. He's holding 1, and this looks like 2. Well bowled.
2.
And once again, we've got a super finish building up. Mel Evans going into that mark, 2014. With Widdowson grabbing 2, 2016.
I don't know whether you were aware of this, Roy, but there is quite a breeze down there. Bloom blowing around, just look at the bushes around. Is that a bit of a factor down there? Do you notice the breeze bothering you on the mat there, the footer? Not today, no, Brian. I think, in fact, it's a cooling breeze for the players. It's very warm there, and so that little bit of breeze is helping to cool them down a bit. I wish it was blowing in this direction.
Well, you don't have to join Weight Watchers when you're up in this position here. Now then, Keith is on a good road.
Good length, this.
Oh, yes. And he turns round and almost shouts at Mel Evans, beat that. Mel certainly needs to get one in close to ensure that Keith Widdowson doesn't take 2 out of it. Hey!
He's got it.
Oh! What about that?
Marvellous ball. Oh. Whether it's won or lost, marvellous ball.
Last ball up.
Last ball has won it. Good gracious me, that is the match-winning bowl, unless anything changes with this single bowl that Keith Widdowson still has to deliver. Takes a little bump in the center as it goes over the crown. Hey, it's trying. It's really trying. Oh, the worst thing. Knocked himself out. Keith turns around immediately, a sporting handshake to Mel Evans. Oh, what a superb ending to another seesaw game. 20-16. Mel Evans wins it. Now there'll be more super action here from this competition in just a few moments after this short break.
Well, we know that these two will make up the first quarter-final of this year's Greenall County Classic, and first of all, congratulations to Mel Evans, who's hot-footed it up here after a very difficult match, Mel.
Yeah, I got off to a good lead against Keith early on, and he come right back at me. I was pleased to see that last ball going. Just an up and at it shot, really.
That's right. I mean, you got off to a flying start. Were you a little bit worried when he started to come back at you so well?
Well, yeah, he dropped on a bit of wide. The green's changing every end at the moment with the sun out. And the block's important. I made use of it early on, and I think that's what possibly won me the match at the end of the day.
Well, we sneaked Roy here, your next opponent, into the commentary box. Now, what did you learn from watching that, Roy?
Not a lot, really, Elton. I think they both played some very good ends, and as Mel said, the ball at the last end was a marvellous ball. Anyone would have been proud of that. So I'll have to sleep on it tonight and think what I'm going to do with this young man here, and sort a new plan out, I think.
A new plan? So you've got some idea then of how the game might fall. Well, tactically then, just give us an insight into what we might expect.
Well, I don't know. I think Mel will probably go for longer lengths, and I'll just fiddle around here and there, I think.
He's going to fiddle around here and there, Mel. Does that worry you?
No, I've fiddled around with Roy quite often in the past, so I'm quite used to it. He's a good player, and we're good friends. Well, we are at the moment. We won't be tomorrow. Well, I've known Roy for a long time. We've had some good games in the past.
What's the record like, Roy?
Not sure, really, Elton. I'm not very good on records of games, but I think Mel might know that better than me. I'll be about even, Mel.
I think I'm one up.
You're one up. Oh well.
I don't know. I think we're about even. Waterloo was the last year, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Well, all right. We're looking forward to it anyway. Well done, the two of you. The first two quarter-finalists in this year's Greenall County Classic. Right, we can go back down to the green now and see the third of the second round games. Live coverage here from the Carr Hotel, and it's Dave Rawlins from North Midlands and Paul Gamsby. Dave Rawlins, you remember, he was the man who put Vernon Lee out in the first round, and Rawlins holds a 5-0 advantage at the moment as we go back inside the commentary box and join Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
As Paul Gamsby's bowl comes in and runs out at the back. I think he's just about as long as Dave Rawlins was short. But David gently going after this, his second bowl, which has certainly won it. Paul still to get on the scoreboard. If he picks up the block, he's got it here. Yes, he has. So the situation changes.
Gamsby, 1.
5-1 now, Dave Rawlins lead. Paul just going up over the top of the crown. Trickle, trickle, trickle. Very nearly on a length. This is something of a Midlands battle, Brian.
Something in a Midlands battle indeed. Rawlins and Gamsby, two of the big names we think from that area. Gamsby did a lot of damage in his first game, beating Jeremy Muff from Yorkshire on a mark something like this. And this is one of the Fiddling Roy Armson sort of marks up to the crown, but he's not done too well. The door is very much open here for Rawlins to build on that 5-1 advantage. He's on. He's lying one.
Seems to be just about right for 2.
That'll do.
Rawlins,
so 7-1.
Oh, there's another 2. They're beautiful, aren't they? This way, sir. Up to the commentary position. A couple of pints of my own.
Yes, nothing could be better. And what is it? Just about 2:15 on a beautiful sunny Wednesday afternoon in the arena just outside the pub. Service to your seat almost. Dave Rawlins led out pretty well to that block. That may just have won it.
It turned back and lay over, so it's certainly a measure for 1. It may not matter. It's just getting him away from this position because there is some rough land. And it may be that Rawlins is not too happy about that. Got it away badly.
So, Paul Gamsby just needing to take a fraction back off his first delivery.
He's trying. Gone very wide.
Well, it may yet be a measure.
Rawlins, 1.
No, it's Dave Rawlins. So he's got a very substantial lead at this moment now. 8-1.
8-1 Rawlins, the man from Mexhall near Coventry, against Gamsby from Birmingham.
And we remember him in the first round when the conditions of play were very different to this. Taking out little dancing master Vernon Lee led him a rare old dance. Dave needing to get another yard and a half of running on his first bowl at least. Yes, he's got that right. It's on a length. Not easy for Gamsby to peg round that short bowl of his. He's taken a lot of land there. He's asking a lot of it to come back from that wide out.
Rawlins, 1.
Another single for Dave Rawlins. 9-1 his lead.
9-1. Dave Rawlins won an awful lot of competitions, mainly around the Midlands. He's reached the final of 80 competitions, winning 59. That's just a sample of them. Plays for the Alvis club.
Paul desperately needing to get that block back. He made a mess of it the only time that he had it in his hands. But he might be on for something now. That's a good bowl. Oh, that's gone out.
Gone out at the moment, Hugh. It might save at the end of the day.
Whoa.
Oh, what a good 2.
Gamsby,
Good
2.
stuff. 9-3 the score now, but perhaps what is more important from Paul Gamsby's point of view is that he's got that block back in his hand. He wants a blockbuster of a run now to close up the gap.
Yes.
Six chalks behind.
Yes, we've seen this sort of gap before, haven't we? And then the man behind puts together a bit of a charge, all about having a run with the block.
Well, I think he made a bit of a mistake the last time he set a mark, and he certainly sent this one out a very long way. The block perched on a little hillock up there. Length needs to be right. Difficulty on this mark, I would suggest, Brian, is that if you get up on a length, you can easily trickle down the slope the other side and run out.
Yes, that block is just itching to be tickled, and then it's going to run down. It's sideways on at the moment. They're just trying to get woods in front. Anything past will run.
Well, that needs to do a lot of running.
Well, just nudge past. At least he's lying to.
Oh, Dave Rawlins ultra cautious in his approach there, and that's a very simple 2 for Gamsby.
2.
So 2s back to back. 9-5 Dave Rawlins lead now.
Paul Gamsby very relieved to get back into the game. Warwick and Worcester Merit winner back in 1985. A Barn handicap winner 84.
"12 years, a county bowler. And wanting to follow the example set earlier today by his Warwickshire and Worcester partner or teammate. Though this isn't a team competition, but it does matter so far as county association points are scored alongside the individual competition. Terry Moss putting out Robert Crawshaw this morning, and Paul Gamsby already having put out Jeremy Muff. So a victory here would keep Warwickshire and Worcester very much alive insofar as the £500 for the County Association title.
That's
The big thing is for Gamsby to hang on to the block here now. He's counting 2 here at this moment, I think. This last bowl going up. If it doesn't change the situation, Gamsby will score 2 and close up.
Got a chance. This has a great chance.
Oh, he's won it. He's won it beautifully. 10-5 now, Dave Rawlins leads.
Rawlins 1. Measure.
Well, we're nearing the end of day 3. The first game that you'll be able to see tomorrow morning when we're back at 10:25 is Noel Burrows, the second favourite, against the Isle of Man's Andy Kennish, who's with us all week, been watching all the games with a great deal of interest. I think it's fair to say, Andy, that this promises to be the biggest occasion in your experience of playing Crown Green Bowls.
Certainly is, yeah. You know, it's the first chance we've had to compete against the best, and you know, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow.
Any fears about playing a player of Burroughs' stature?
No, he's like me. He's there to be beaten, so he's got 2 balls like me. Just hope I can perform to my capabilities.
I'm glad about that. Now, when we spoke to you yesterday, you said you quite enjoyed the green when it was slow. Now it's getting much faster. Is that going to affect your game, do you think?
No, we're playing first thing in the morning, which the dampness could be still there. You know, I think mid-afternoon the green is starting to run a bit better. But I think there'll still be a bit of hold tomorrow, which will suit me, I think. Looks very tricky now. Looks to be getting really quick and tricky.
Certainly does. Andy, thanks very much. So, tomorrow morning at 10:25, Andy here against Noel Burrows. Also tomorrow morning, you'll be able to see what should be a fascinating match tactically. Brian Duncan against Tony Poole. Both those games tomorrow morning. The start of the quarterfinals this afternoon on this very cold and windy day here in St Helens. Well, the last of the second round ties was completed, no doubt while you were enjoying a spot of lunch. And it was victory for Wales in the shape of Martin Halliwell. It was another runaway win too. Never in trouble at any stage against Terry Moss of Warwickshire and Worcestershire. 21 chalks to 6, 3 out of 4 games, and this morning, very one-sided affairs. So the quarter-final draw looks like this. That's the game you'll be able to see momentarily. Roy Armson, Mel Evans, Dave Rawlins and Ken Kissock next today. And then tomorrow morning, Noel Burrows against Brian Duncan, not to be missed under any circumstances. And then it's Bob Hitchin against Martin Halliwell. So as we move into the quarter-finals, the county table still has Greater Manchester on top with maximum points. Lancashire and North Midlands still just behind by virtue of 2 high-scoring performances by Norman Fletcher and Peter Varney, both beaten in the first round, but each of them scoring 20 chalks. So Roy Armson now looking to retain Greater Manchester's unbeaten record, not to mention reaching the semi-finals. He's the favourite in the top half of the draw, wearing blue. And that is the way it's worked out, with 1 or 2 of the big names going out. Well, his opponent this afternoon comes from Staffordshire, Mel Evans. He won the last time they met. That was in the Waterloo last year. At the moment, Armson leads by 2 chalks to 1. Could be in for a bit of a marathon, actually. We had a dead end to start with, a couple of singles. Then they had a measure for a possible short mark. Since then, Armson has moved 1 chalk ahead as we join our commentators Brian Brett and Hugh Johns.
With Mel just having delivered a winning bowl. This is Roy Armson's second. It's gone out at the back. So a fair chance here for Mel Evans to pick up a second scoring point on a good line. Yes, that'll do him. 2, the first double of this match. And he gets his nose in front. 3-2. Mel, distinctive, a left-hander. And as Roy, who was in our commentary box, was saying this morning, it's always difficult for the right-handed player to pick up the line to the block when he's standing looking over the shoulder of the left-hander's lead. And he certainly won't want to follow that line, will Roy Armson. Mel Evans' bowl in the ditch. So Roy strokes his bowl away into the corner. And I think we can anticipate Brian Brett a pretty tight sort of a game here, although that isn't a particularly good delivery by Roy Armson.
The best you can say for that, Hugh, is that it's on the green, and Mel certainly will now be conscious that it does run pretty quickly down there. He'll want to sneak past Roy's. It is a close game, 3-2 at the moment. It could go a long way.
Well, he certainly wants that bowl to go a long way, and it's not even beating.
Well, that now makes the first delivery of Armson's a good wood. Even better if you can couple up.
Well, anything within 10 feet of the jack?
Yes, certainly within sight. This has just got
Hey,
to stop on. It must stop on.
It's going off.
Way, Woodway.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Only just. Well, just shows you it doesn't matter how you get them, as long as you get them. And with a place in the semi-final at stake here, this is starting off with a little bit of nervous tension, I think, from both bowlers. Roy Armson now with a 4-3 advantage.
He's certainly going to keep Mel out of the big corners. Going up along an edge. He's picked out a clever marquee. He's talking about his fiddling marks. He started with 2 good strikes, took the jack off, and then struck at the next end in a far corner to count 1, and now shortening the game considerably.
Well, that really is a beautiful delivery. I was saying earlier that Mel, being a left-hander, makes life difficult for the right-handed bowler. It's just as bad for him following the right-hander's lead.
Works the other way, Hugh, yes. Particularly when you put up a lead like that. He probably can't see the jack from the mat. Oh, what a good pair.
Well, if he could see it at all before, he's got to take the line now from the 2 bowls.
That invites some fairly heavy ammunition. It's a reasonable target if he wants to have a go at it. Not easy to strike. That's the challenge that faces him. Needs some weight and gone for it. Just missed.
That really was bowling down. So 2 more for Roy Armson. 2's back to back. 6-3, his lead now.
Mel Evans not happy on the shorter marks that Roy sets. In fact, he questioned 1 right at the beginning of the game, but it was well over the required 19 metres from the footer to the jack. Roy's a great matman. You notice how he just shifted the footer then. The rule is you must keep your toe on the footer, but it doesn't say which toe, whether it's a little toe or big toe, as long as it's a toe.
This different, of course, on the crown green game to the flat game, where as long as your foot is over the mat, in the air, that's all right.
And Mel have taken a completely different position when he's on the mat.
And of course, it's fair to say that if you're a right-handed bowler, the laws in crown green say that you must, if you bowl with the right hand, you must have the right foot, right toe on the footer. Good line. Nice weight. Just about in. Will it come back?
Might
yes,
count too.
It does. And I think that little whack that the blue ball took may indeed have. Yes, Roy has immediately kicked his bowl out, and Mel Evans of Staffordshire gets himself 2. 6-5, Roy Armson's lead now. Mel Evans from Heath Hayes in Cannock. Captain of the Chadsmore Progressive team, the club he bowls at. familiar figure around Crown Greens for many years. Tall, slim, and that familiar red hat of his.
Well, there's Roy Armson on the putter. Just about got the back of a toe there. Wouldn't say which part of the toe. He was fairly close.
Which is more than can be said of his bowl. That's going to wind up very, very short. There is a little bit of extra running in this corner with
Boys, 3 yards
downward
short.
slope. Once you get over the last of the small mountains coming down off the top of the green. Yes. Well, that's 2 more for Mel Evans, unless Roy can do something with his last bowl. Rather bumped that one away.
Seems to have a fair amount of running in the wood. Might save.
Needs to hit something.
Win. It's got to pull up.
It did. It's a winner.
Armson won.
Now the old maestro, 58 years old Roy, bowling for the last 30 years. He has spent a tremendous amount of time all week sussing out the imperfections, the dips, the irregularities of this green. Every night after play finishes for the day in the competition, Roy's out there with one of half a dozen sets of bowls that he carries in the back of the car, trying things out. He's led well to this mark.
Given that a lot of land to work in. And he's doing it all.
All the way.
Not as easy for the left-hander. Evans on the way, similar land. Just asking his woods to do the same as Armson. Unlucky.
Oh, very unlucky. Just needed to get a full contact on one of those 2 blue bowls and he'd have dropped in. But I think when he gets up there, he'll find that he's...
Armson 2.
Yes, he is 2 down. So Roy Armson takes a 9-5 advantage. And at this point, we shall be leaving Carr just for a moment or two, but we'll be back with more live action. And while you've been away, Roy Armson has picked up another single. Lead now 10-5 against Mel Evans. Roy hasn't led out too well to this mark. And Mel has beaten the first bowl of Roy Armson. Roy has given that a lot of work to do. He's taken a lot of land. Lots of land. Way wide. So Mel looks as though he's halted this little points break of Roy Armson of 4. He hasn't improved it, but he's happy enough to get the single. 10-6 now, Roy Armson's lead. Mel coming from behind. Something he knows about in the context of another sport that he takes a keen interest in. He's a soccer fan, selecting Wolves as the team that he supports, wearing the yellow jersey of Wolves, and finding himself in the sort of position the Molyneux side has been in so often last season, down and having to fight to get back into a match. And he's found a good lead into this corner, and something disturbed Roy Armson's concentration behind the block at that moment. And very wisely, there's the years of experience behind that. Brian, Roy doesn't deliver if he's been disturbed.
I think the wind's a bit gusting as well, and I feel it might just have affected him on the footer. Plenty of movement around the green with the wind, and the bushes, the trees have been blown around at some pace. Good coupling.
Oh, yes.
Well, Roy's had a go corner to corner. Still up the land, left 2.
Didn't make any sort of a contact. And he's 2 down here. And this will now prove very interesting, I think, to see what sort of mark Mel Evans sets out for himself.
Yes, he'll certainly go corners, I think. Hugh already at 10-8. He's looking, he's got the block, he's going to look into the distance. This is the corner used very effectively yesterday by Ken Houdini Keswick, who got out from 14-3 with a break of 18 on this mark.
Well, that's not going to reach. Roy knows he's got to play with a fair bit of weight, fair bit of running on the bowl here. Well, he's bang on a length.
Is he any better? Certainly not in the count at the moment.
Anything on a length will give Roy Armson 2 here.
Oh, what a good pair.
So, not as cold as Mel Evans is feeling at the moment, having dropped 2 more on that end. Roy Armson warm and comfortable with a 4 points advantage.
Nice little cushion there. That has had the effect of bringing his price down with the bookmakers. They're now calling 7-2 Armson to win the competition. 10-1 Mel Evans.
Roy looking to get a good cushion of points on the board. He did that in his first match, in the first round, when he was 16-3 up against Phil Owen. And although Owen came back strongly over the back end of the game, he could never make up the deficit. And Roy won it 21-14 against Keith Widdowson. Roy had to come from behind. He was 5-0 down and 8-2 down to put out Bruce Conway. Whoa.
Not easy there, is it? He's 1 in front, about a yard in front. Get past the block and it'll run. Mel very much aware of this. Just unlucky.
Desperately unlucky. A single then to Roy Armson. 13-8.
13-8 to Armson. who is now wondering whether to go straight across the green into an area where there is a basin. He looks as though he's not going fully into the basin, but it's a difficult lie, and if he gets into a gully beyond that, it's got some running to do. Gone as short as he dare, put a lot of running into the wood. Just as difficult for the left-hander. The wood will probably disappear now, up and over, and it's now got to work. So at times like this, you feel like disowning some woods. It's working all right, but the opposite way.
Yes, there's a little shallow basin there that it fell into.
Armson taking a lot out of this. Changed the land completely.
Still running past.
He'll be relieved if he gets something out of this end. Mel Evans looks different again. Yes.
That'll do. Just 4 in it now.
I'm not quite sure, having a look at both corners, finally.
So I think he fancies the one down below
No,
us.
he doesn't. He's changed his mind again. That's kidded us. Is he happy? Yes, this time.
Poor Jack Isherwood, the referee, didn't know which way to walk.
It was a case of having 2 referees.
Very sheltered corner up there, down in front of the Carmill Hotel.
Is Armson any better? This has got a bit of running. Just about counting.
Well, that's won it all right at this moment.
His line's better. And his length.
Well, that's the one.
Still plenty of room for Armson.
Yes. A little tired as it lay down at the end of its travel. And Roy Armson has the block back in his hand and a 14-9 lead.
Well, he may try along an edge again, just moves the footer a shade. They're allowed to move it a metre. Right foot just on the footer. This time the big toe.
Running this one now with the crown. Bowl trying to work against the ground, against the slope of the ground.
Not easy. It's a shortish mark. It's about 30 yards. And that's what he's faced with. He's got to get up and over the wood in front, which belongs to Mel Evans. In fact, he's looking as though he's going to try and sneak under. Will it hold up? Knock at the legs. Now then. Looks as though Evans might still be counting. Yes, Roy conceded. So Evans with a chance here of coupling up. If he can avoid contact with the Armson wood. There is the gap. Going for the split. Got it.
Beautifully done. A brace for Mel Evans.
Yes, a bad end to lose, Hugh. 14-11 to Armson, and Evans now in a position to have a go at the other corner, unless he fancies the scoreboard. He wants to get to the scoreboard and then diagonally across the green.
This again, a straight peg mark. Bias working against the slope.
Armson trying to take a similar road in, hoping that the bias will hold up and then fall now. He's just a bit unlucky.
Desperate.
Mel may decide to have a look, yes.
Yellow
All
ball.
sorts of dangers here.
Yes. I think it's a protection job that he's got to work on here, because at that distance, it's a fairly shortish mark. Mel must take into consideration, with such a broad target, Roy Armson, who has last bowl here, might just be having a bang at this when he gets there.
So it's either a blocker or it's one through. Or does he gamble and just try and play up? Well, he's taking a similar road.
He's trying to get one in the way.
He wants one in the way. He's waving it over, and it's fallen probably just out of the way.
It's difficult from our angle to see here exactly, but a weight ball should go flying past that one.
Well, Roy's happy to play at it. Well, he's playing up. He still thinks he can play out.
He's close.
Wood.
He's close. Unlucky. I feel he could have had a bang at that. The worst that could have happened to him to be one down.
Evans, one.
So Mel Evans now 12-14 off the mat, and he is in a position that he wanted. Getting out of that area is not too clever, although he got a smooth road then.
And he's certainly achieved his object now. He's working into a corner that he feels he knows. Running looks about right. That's forcing Roy Armson really to get up there. Must not be short. The danger here, of course, is playing through with weight. The ball working against that little slope there.
Yes, he's come away from the slope. Does it look as though he was going to get that?
But it's caused Roy to walk away from the footer, because I don't think he can really see the geography with that bowl stopping in the road. I'm not be quite sure where the winning bowl is at this moment.
I know what he'd like to do. He'd like to pick up the jack and run it to his back wood. Take a long look before he takes his place on the footer. He's working it out in his mind. Exactly the lie of the land, whether to try and clip the jack to his back wood, whether to play out the winning wood. That's bobbling all over the place. He's gone for the jack.
Oh, he got it all right, but just shifted it the other way. So I don't think there's any change, just a single to Mel. Yes, he picks up his other wood.
Evans, one.
13-14, the gap closing all the time.
Well, you suggested this was going to be a marathon. It's been going now some 50 minutes almost.
Yes, it's again a tricky corner to play. Run again, on a bit more. About a yard short.
A yard short, and on the way in. Armson needing to sneak past. Oh, yes, it's on the road. He's done enough.
He'll not be totally unsatisfied with that, because at least it's opened the way up now.
Still fancying the Evans ward. Deceptive. Just in.
But he's no better off, no worse off than he was before. At least he can see the target clearly now. But Mel, again, looking as though he's on a good road. Needed a little touch off his own bowl then. Here it comes up over the hill like the charge of the 7th Cavalry. On its way down.
Come on, run on, Ward. Run on. Run on.
It's run out. So it looks very much as though Mel Evans has picked up a single here.
Evans!
Yes, he has. And we have a very, very super tight game here. 14 across. At this moment, I think we can afford to leave the match just for a moment or two. At the conclusion of it, when you return. And Mel Evans won the mark when you left us. He now has a 15-14 advantage. And it looks very much as though he's holding 2 on this particular mark. Roy Armson still has a bowl to come. It's on its way. No, he's lost the line completely. Crowd waving it out. Roy Armson, the very much the favourite in the top half of this draw. And Mel has picked up a 2 here and a 17-14 advantage. Place in the semi-final for the winner, and a certain £600. The loser of this quarter-final goes away with £300 to reward his efforts in the Greenall Classic 86 version. And Mel, with a cushion of 3 points advantage, has not led very well to this mark.
Last time they came up to this mark, Hugh, they were all very short. It's the heaviest part of the green. Evans has gone from 14-9 down to 17-14 up, break of 8, as Armson replies. Excellent.
Well, that's more like it. He had a practice on the end before last mark there and was all over the place. Now at last he's found the line and the length. Mel will curve away and out. Now there's a great chance here for 2. In fact, that bowl going into the ditch. So Roy only has 1 yellow bowl to beat to get 2.
Still got some running to do with this wood. Line's all right.
Just about do it. Just about do it.
Good enough.
Yes, there's 2.
Armson 2.
16-17. And Roy has the block back in his possession.
Roy Armson, in fact, has won 8 tournaments twice, and another half-dozen pairs competitions. They were all a few years ago. Had he won them in the 1980s, it would be a very wealthy man, because prize money in the last few years has doubled in most cases.
Yes, I think prize money last year, something like £200,000 in the Crown Green game. That, of course, takes in a lot of competitions, but it just illustrates the amount of money that can be won. You think back to the great old days of the Talbot, which was in its day the greatest competition of all time, and Roy Armson bowling here featured in the very last of the Talbot competitions. Runner-up.
Roy Armson has gambled a little going on this mark. He's not tried it in the game so far. Needs to get one very, very close. Will not be too displeased with that. Just about 18 inches through. More difficult for the left-hander to play this mark, and Mel has missed it.
Missed it by a mile. And we're level. 17 across. Well, level at 14 across. And now we're level at 17 across.
And now we're going to halve the green to keep Evans out of the corners. And what we don't want is for the block to go off. So the jack is coming to rest well short of the edge. Roy wanted to settle in front of the jack, because anything through, it's got some running to do. They now run.
It just trickles those extra 6 or 7 inches, which can be so vital at this stage of the game. Somebody puts 2 or 3 points together.
This again, Hugh has got a lot of running to do, maybe worse.
Well out. Roy needing to be closer with his second bowl, because he's winning it at the moment, but he needs to be a lot tighter. He's on a length, but still quite a considerable distance from the block. It's there for the winning for Mel.
It looks heavy. Right.
It looks heavy.
It's well through here. Well through. Needs a hit. He got a lit. He's saved.
Well, I think the length ball of Armson's may have won it all right.
Oh, I think so. But I think that second wood of Evans was heading for the lounge bar until it hit the backwood of Armson's and not yet conceded. He may ask for a measure.
I think he's going to.
Measure, please.
Fortunately, the measurers are within a few yards of the edge.
Mel, in fact, may be requiring this more to give himself a little break to renew the enthusiasm, concentration.
A couple of canny characters, looks slack.
Yellow ball.
Yellow ball in.
Ah.
But he's held up blue, but it is yellow, surely.
Yes, now he's changed his mind. Jack Isherwood getting a little chai-aching from the fans for sticking the wrong lollipop in the air.
Well, really, that was a no-hope, and the effect of all that is that Mel Evans has got that 1-point advantage at 18-17. And is going a long way into the corners. Can't get fully there from his position on the footer, but he can get a long way still.
getting a really tense finish to this one.
Well, you forecast a marathon. We've got a marathon. Who's got the staying power?
Mel, who really came to the fore in about 1971, has picked up 26 individual titles and 13 pairs titles in all that time.
Roy trying, he's trying.
Oh, just shading past by a fraction. Still a very, very good crowd here at Carr Mill in the front of the fine hotel there, despite the chill breeze that's blowing around this green.
Now then, Armson will not rush into this. Take a look, he knows he's lying with the second wood. He'll just want to count. If he can play out the Evans wood, so much the better, but he just wants to count. Some running to do.
No, it's swung away and out. So Mel picks up another single. 1917. Mel Evans in the lead. Remembering he was 9-5 down, 12-8 down, 14-9 down. He really has been galloping in the later stages of this match. Too short of a place in the semi-final.
Well, is this a mistake? He's well short. He may well have let Armson back into things here. It eventually ran on more than it deserved to, but Armson just hesitating on the mat as Mel Evans made his way back. Wants total concentration. Got a good road. What about his length? Not going to get there.
Oh! That was no time to be short. Had to beat the first bolt at least, even if he didn't get straight on.
Well, that leaves Mel Evans certainly with one by an inch or so, and if he can couple up here, everything's against Armson. Is he short?
Yes, he is, surely. Well, there's one thing for certain. Mel Evans can't win this quarterfinal on this mark now.
Can't Armson get round those three woods?
No, he's missed it. He's missed it entirely.
He's trying. He's
done it.
Would
you believe it? How wrong can you be? That bowl didn't seem to have half the legs needed. But he got there. 18-19 the score.
Well, it looked to have died the death as it approached the jag. We thought it was a mile off course, and then came back. This green makes mugs of all of us. Roy again just fiddling a little bit with the mat. He needs to settle down. We all need to settle down. All right, along the edge, shorten it.
Again now, the crown coming down from the top side of this bowl.
He's running.
Not a good lead. Tension reaching both these players now. 1918, Mel Evans, as his bowl comes in for this block.
Length is better, but he's short. Short, still better than Armson's, but still short. Roy wanting to adjust. Got to correct. Got to get past. That'll do. That'll do.
Well, that's one way of getting there.
Well, it is. It's unlikely that Evans can score twice at this end. Could do well even to save. His own front wood is in the way to prevent a strike. If strike should enter his mind, surely he's going to try and play through. He can't afford to touch the jack. He's had a go.
He's got it.
It's gone against him. It's gone against him. He's left two. It's worked against him.
It's worked totally against him, and you're quite right, Brian. Boy, Armson has got two here. Well, what rotten luck for Mel Evans. That was a very, very brave attempt. Yes. And Roy Armson sneaks his nose in front. 20-19.
Hugh, I couldn't see any way that a strike would pay there. I am surprised he went for it. He did well to make contact, but worked against him. Having said that, a couple of ends ago, a rub worked for Mel. But this now, Armson going for game.
Mel Evans now has been stuck on 19 since he got there 3 ends ago. That was a bad bowl out from Armson, his lead bowl, needing 1 for the match, 1 to get into the semi-final.
Is Evans any better, Hugh? Has he taken a similar line to Armson? His length is better, or is it? It's no better.
So it's fairly clear that Mel Evans cannot get the 2 he needs to win the match on this end. Roy Armson, can he get the 1 he wants?
Maybe following the same line. It's got to get the ridge and come back.
I don't think it's any better than his first one in length.
No better, but
so the
winning for the game.
The winning of this is there for Mel. He's down on his knees. He's angry with himself.
He's through.
He's blown it.
Mile through.
It's right out at the back. Indeed, the match is over. Mel Evans very, very unhappy with himself as he goes up there. That was a loose bowl, his last one. Roy Armson wins it 21-19.
The worst
21-19 indeed. And it all really changed, didn't it? Towards the end of that game, he'd taken an advantage at 15-14. Edged ahead in 19-17, 19-18. But really, everybody's still buzzing around this green and just going over the final, closing, exciting minutes. Armson, the 21-19 winner.
So great in Manchester, still unbeaten. Roy Armson getting his place there in the semi-finals. The favourite in the top half of the draw. Here's the favourite in the bottom half of the draw, Brian Duncan. He was made to work very hard there, Roy, wasn't he?
He was really, and Mel came back from about 14-7 or 8 down and really played a good game, and he was just unfortunate at the end with that strike which he connected, which is a feat to hit on here really, and he finished up 2 down instead of 1 down.
Let's have a look at that, Brian, because you say it is such a difficult thing to actually strike on this green because there are so many bobbles.
Well, he's done a perfect strike because he just had to miss his own ball. He's hit everything right and finished up with 2 down, and very unlucky.
But in the top half of the draw there, Roy's played consistently well throughout. He played these little fiddly marks that he calls them. Do you think he's going to go all the way now, to the final at least?
Well, he's in the semi-final now, like I say, he's played about the most consistent. But Ken Kissick and Dave Rawlins have played some very good games, so you know it's on the daylight really.
Right, well he will play the winner of that game, which we won't be seeing this afternoon. So now let's look forward to tomorrow, finals day, and what a day it promises to be.
Well, you have to play Noel first game on, and if I'm fortunate to beat Noel, like, there's possibly Bob Hitchin waiting for us because he's playing extraordinarily well, and whoever gets to the final at the bottom half are going to deserve it.
Now, you must have played Noel many times before. It really is like the clash of the titans. What's the record like between the two of you, do you know?
I would think it'd be pretty equal, really. I don't keep records, actually, but I would think there won't be a lot in us, and we've played over the last 10 years, like, and ups and downs, like, and just see what happens.
Do you get on well on the green, or is there a bit of needle there?
Well, we're both keyed up to win, like, but there's nothing, no animosity in the game. We just both want to win, obviously.
Brian, thanks very much indeed. We'll see you first thing in the morning, won't we? Right, that's
so.
it today. Tomorrow it's finals day. We start off with a couple of quarter-final games. The first, that big one between Burrows and Duncan here. Get here early. It's going to be a full house. It's a perfect start to the day. Brian Duncan and Noel Burrows, quarter-finalists in the bottom half of the draw. And whoever wins will be a strong favourite for the championship. Everything to be decided today. Who picks up the winner's cheque, the £1,750, and who the county champions will be. But there's an awful long way to go yet. Well, there's Brian Duncan, favourite from the start. He's had one or two testing moments so far. Never gives the impression of being totally satisfied, but that's because he's a perfectionist. The game's #1 player for over 20 years. Noel Burrows, right out of the same mould. The most complete bowler possibly in the world today. Equally at home on the flat or on the crown. Like Duncan, a thoroughly professional attitude towards the game. He only allowed his opponent Andy Kennish one chalk in the last round and only smiled at the end of the match. The 1984 champion here. Well, between them, these two have won every title the game has to offer. I said about one of the games yesterday, it could well be a marathon, and that certainly applies to this match here. Burrows has got a one chalk advantage now, but in the first end here, both bowlers had a toucher on the block, so that first end was tied. This really promises to be quite a match. Now, in the commentary box, we've got Roy Armson, Brian Brett, and Hugh Johns.
And you join us just as Brian Duncan picks up his first score of the morning in this match, and we're level at 1 across. Brian, everything's set for a fine day here on this super green. The crowd already buzzing with excitement, packed in.
Packed in indeed, Hugh. They were here from 8:15 this morning. People to bring in their own seats in. Even now it's standing room only. What a great day. This many people's final, really. This is a classic in itself.
Noel spot on, but he's run the jack back, I think, onto the yellow bowl of Brian Duncan. Brian obviously aiming to get into the corner and then work the diagonal that has proved very successful for him so far in this Greenalls County Classic.
Well, he was unlucky, wasn't he? I said he was unlucky.
Noel coming off a little bit of weight. Too much, in fact. I think he was probably trying to promote his own bowl. And Brian Duncan has a single and is now, interestingly enough, looking across the green to this diagonal that he enjoys so much. Roy Armson, the green this morning, running a fraction faster, I think.
Yes, that's right, Hugh. It's been mown this morning, and with the wind that there is at the present time, it is just about 4 feet faster than yesterday.
So what about the running of the two pairs of bowls? Gosh, that was a beauty from Brian Duncan, bang on the road.
Very nice hit for Brian. Yes, they're both playing identical weight bowls. They're both playing with 2 pound 13 ounce bowls, but Brian's are plastic and Noel's are timber. So Noel's bowls will actually run that little bit further than Brian's.
Brian again coming well. Couple of beauties. Noel with some work to do. Some work for his bowl to do, his last one. Looks as though it's slowing, but it's running. Now,
Duncan,
two. Didn't run quite far enough. 4-1. Brian Duncan opens up a gap. And this only the second time in this competition so far that Noel Burrows has been behind. He lost the very first mark in his match, first round match against Martin Gilpin, but never looked back after that. 5-1, 12-7, 17-11. He went out then scoring 2s on the trot, 2s back to back. Brian Duncan seems to be in a very positive frame of mind here in this quarterfinal at the moment. Noel can't possibly hope to reach with that, can he?
We'll have to run, Noel. Big yard short.
Big yard, nearer a bigger 2 yards. Brian just gently coasting down there for 2. Looks a little better. Oh, Duncan waving it out. And away she goes. That's 2 more for Brian Duncan.
Duncan, 2.
Wow, strong system.
What at stake here, Hugh. It's not only just winning this title, there's a fair bit of prestige at stake here because Duncan is accepted as the top Crown Green bowler, while Burrows, we firmly believe, is probably the most complete bowler in the world. He's won the richest flat green competition indoors. That's the £10,000 first prize in the Super Bowl, and the top in the Crown. That's the £5,500 Fast Masters title. So possibly Noel feels a little bit behind Brian over the years, but he's going to do his best to narrow that gap.
Big yard short. You can't knock him in with the length, no.
Kitchen, the indication that that bowler is a long way short. Just squeezed past. That closes up the land a little bit for Noel Burrows. Chances of getting around there
looking for the
a little
gap.
Reduced. He got there.
And now needs to rest. No.
But he was saying that Noel's bowls will run on that little bit, Roy. There was a case of it running just that fraction too far.
Just there, yes, right on the edge where it just does run that little bit. It did show. But what two marvellous players these two are, and I would recommend any young players who aspire to be good at the game to watch these two whenever they can. They're a perfect example of the correct way to play, the correct way to deliver the bowl. You'll notice the bowl always goes out truly. Very, very rarely do you see either of these two players wobble a bowl. Slightly different in style, but a perfect example to all young players.
Well, there's some 27 years experience behind the delivery of that gorgeous bowl then from Brian Duncan. And Noel, well, he's been handling bowls, moving them on Crown Greens for much longer than that.
That yard again.
Some 38 years. He had his first tiny set of bowls in his hands on his father's Crown Green outside the pub in Withington when he was just 4 years old.
Hey.
must try and get one right on the jack now, because there's a pretty fair gap. He's knocked his own up, but will it turn over again? No, it won't.
Duncan, 1.
Another single for Brian Duncan. Well, Brian Brett, are these ominous signs for Noel Burrows, would you think?
Certainly not good signs, are they? I'm just looking back in the records. It's difficult to get a form line on these two characters. They've not played each other since the summer of '84, 2 years ago, and I think they had about 4 games, and I reckon it's even Steven, 2 wins each. I'm thinking back a couple of years too to when Burroughs last won on this green, and he was a long way behind Ken Strutt, about 11-1, but not facing leads of this quality across the crown. Burroughs did his work across the crown on a difficult, another diagonal mark, but he's really now wanting to get in. He's not far off. He's not getting the rubs.
Duncan!
A little unlucky.
He's level. You're 9 inch in front.
The final destination of this bowl, most important. It's short, but it's in the road, I think, and that will make the approach of this bowl a little bit difficult. Well, Noel has certainly put some running on here. He's after the bowl and didn't get it right at all. That's way away. Another single for Brian.
1.
It's difficult days for Noel, Roy.
Yes, he will be thinking back, I'm sure, to 1984 when he was 10-none behind in the final with Ken Strutt. To come back and win. The green was a lot faster then, and he certainly won't want to go any more behind with Brian Duncan, because Brian's dictating the game and he's not allowing Noel to use his knowledge of the green. I'm sure that Noel was hoping originally to be able to go on different marks, to use the knowledge of the green that he's gained in the last 3 years, whereas this is Brian's first time. But the way things are going, Brian is sticking to the part of the green he knows, and he's dictating it.
Brian in his second round match against Tony Poole got up to 10-1 and was pulled back to 10-9. But at the moment, there's no signs at all that Brian Duncan is losing his grip on this game. Well, that was an excellent reply then from Noel Burrows. That is going to be a desperately difficult bowl to beat.
Duncan not happy with this. He seems to have taken a little bit out. It might just reach, but the land is wrong.
Can't do any damage.
Well, he doesn't want to do any damage this time, because there was certainly damage done a lot earlier. The first end an absolute dead end because they both had touches slap bang on the block. They're taking no chances this time.
For the first time in this match, Noel Burrows allowed himself to break the stern face that he's had from the start of this match. A little smile for a moment, and he's got the jack back in his hand.
Burroughs, 1.
Yes, indeed, 9-2 now, but the important thing that Burroughs has got that jack, and he can afford now to look for those clever marks, and the important thing, of course, to lead to those clever marks now at last, that he's got this block back at the 10th end, allowing for the first end being a dead end.
There's a little trickle back. Well, that's the most remarkable delivery. That turned a sharp right angle then to curl back.
He did it the first end, Hugh, and we know what happened then.
What is the land over in that corner, Roy?
It's unusual over there. Hughie's playing round peg. He's playing the bias towards the ditch, and he's just catching a little ridge and then allowing, as the ball slows, it's allowing the bias to take over. It's an unusual mark. It's one that I've practiced, and it's a very, very good mark.
There's only one way out of this.
And he's clipped one away, but didn't get the one that was nestling right on the kitty. That, the most amazing little area.
Yes, an excellent strike by Duncan, because it's certainly not easy to strike on this green, and particularly along an edge. But now Burrows playing up over the crowns.
Yes, interesting to hear you say plural there, because though it's not apparent on the screen, there are more than one crown out there, Brian Brett.
Enough.
Well, just to explain a little further on that one, Hugh, there are split crowns here at the Carr Mill, but this is a mark that Burroughs spent some time practicing this morning, so at last he's got the chance to try and put that practice into, to transfer that into some sort of points advantage. Now it's 9-3 down.
No, it's just trickled away and out, and goes quite a long way out.
Yes, the best laid plans there. Could even leave a couple on for Duncan. Disastrous. Has he missed out?
He just missed the ridge. He got the wrong side of it there.
Okay. Duncan, 1.
10-3. Brian Duncan leads. And he's able now to go straight away across into the corner. And if he wins this mark, he'll be in an ideal position to go back to his diagonal line again. If the block stays on, yes it does. Only just.
Can't afford a tickle on that jack, because it'll end up in the ditch. Oh, it's not a bad lead there, is it? Because anything beyond the jack now, well, there's Burrows. All sorts of difficult country to find a way through. His road looks good if his length is right.
Chance.
I think that's got it. I wonder. Frank Kitchen looking at it, the referee.
I don't know.
He's far enough.
Oh, gone.
You want to know?
I think we all want to know, Mr. Kitchen, because it's very difficult from our position here to be
You only
certain.
have to turn him up.
Yes, he can't afford to touch Duncan's wood.
Noel might just be satisfied to take one here.
No, he's a winner. He might be cheeky enough to try for 2.
If he stops, he probably has. He has stopped.
Okay. Burroughs.
No, just the one. You say just the one, that's a very important one. Roy, you know Noel Burrows, I suppose, better than most, having played so many partner competitions with him. What goes through his mind at this moment now?
I think he's doing what I thought he would do. He's trying to exploit the green, but he loves this particular part here. He likes to let them go into that little trolley and then come back like that. That's been caused through it being about a foot short.
Well, I suppose if it comes back into your hands, you can throw it again.
It's got to be within reach. I can claim it slipped out of his hand. And that one of Duncan's just gone through and just counting. I was now expecting it to peg a little.
That's 1 hit. Only 1.
But it looks easy enough from here to actually get a bowl in much tighter than that to win this end. But that little piece of land, a surveyor would find it very difficult to get any levels over there.
You wouldn't build any houses there, Hugh.
That's coming back out again.
Now it's going to work back. Incredible.
Burrows, one.
I'm quite sure that definitely was a case of local knowledge on the part of Noel Burrows and a long memory. So Noel going to try this piece of land that he exploited before. The approach to this jack guarded by a couple of undulations, and then the land bends away sharply the other side of the jack. Well, that's as tidy as you like.
Not much.
It'll still trickle.
He sent the jack a little bit further there, Hugh, into a part of the green that is green, which enables his balls to stop.
Now then, he may present a target for Duncan.
That's gone that far past.
And I think he needs the jack. I think it's much point in just removing one
He's
ball.
going to. He's going to. Going to try and take out the Burroughs woods. Left two.
Took both of his off. So that's two for Noel Burrows. And that gap, which was 9-1 just 6 ends ago, has closed down to Duncan 10, Burroughs 7.
Taking his time, and no wonder, a little bit of nervous tension there. I'm sure he knows where he's going. Across the green, find similar land again. Keep Duncan out of those corners.
Well, if colour has anything to do with it, I'm sure Noel is feeling very happy. Not only a Manchester City fan, he's got the right colour jersey on for that, but it's the same colour jersey with which he won Super Bowl against the great David Bryant last year. Unlucky, but
well,
stops in.
Always play far enough, always play up Duncan. Chance of going through past the jack. And a very useful stop. So Burroughs replies, puts it there again.
Yes.
Has it got a road?
Running.
Yes.
Followed it.
Oh, yes.
Oh. Well, Brian Duncan. I think we'll give him the credit for remembering about that little slope then.
Well, it certainly worked against him last time, turned back on himself. But now Duncan back in the corners, of course. 11-7, wanted to win this end and get right back across it onto a 55-yard mark.
Right, I think we might just have a look at the last bowl there again in slow motion on that very tricky piece of land.
2 foot.
Well, let's have a look at it now.
Yes, Noel tried to catch Brian out here. He was hoping to catch him out playing short, but it's very difficult with Brian. He reads the other man's delivery, and he wasn't short. It was all uphill from where they were sending the jack, but Brian played a real good ball.
And in fact now he's looking to couple up. He's looking for 2 on this mark. Burroughs with the wood furthest at the back.
Striking.
Certainly not striking. It's all a question of weight and away from the land.
Stayed out.
May have saved.
Duncan!
Yes, he saved one. And Brian Duncan is into the diagonal, into the corners, from scoreboard up towards the hotel.
Fair enough.
They like it in that corner of the green. Curves away a bit. It's just about on a length, but wide. The road was right,
Just short,
but
yard.
the weight was wrong.
These woods head a long way into that far corner. It means the back 2 rows of one of the little seating areas all get to their feet to follow the wood. You see it nestle to what looks like a good 2.
Duncan, 2.
So 2 more for Brian Duncan.
Noel Burrows, as we said, picked up a fair amount of money there. The Super Bowl, the record £10,000 first prize. And again, the Bassmasters, he picked up £5,500. Chester's Classic, that was a £2,000 first prize. Again, a long way into the corners. Difficult to split them before they start out this morning, but now at 14-7, and Duncan, a little run of 4 points, 3 successive ends, leading well.
Dead length.
Well, the wood disappears from sight until it gets up over one of those crowns and then starts to peg round. If it's doing its job, it looks as though Burroughs has disowned it.
Slaps his thigh and a little gesture of anger. Brian Duncan happy enough. The young man by the name of Sean Duncan down by the scoreboard, no relation to Brian Duncan, watching this with great interest. Young man, just 15 years old, entered his first competition this year and got through to the final where he got beaten, but this the sort of game that should intrigue him tremendously, Roy.
Oh yes, he's watching the 2 masters of the craft. At the moment, Noel's not quite doing what he should be doing. He'll be disappointed at being short at the last end. But as I've said before, for young players to watch these 2 every chance they get, they're a perfect example to all young players.
So Brian Duncan away on the mark, which has become his hallmark in this competition. It's one that he used with great effect against Jack Everett and Tony Poole, and he's certainly using it with unfailing regularity to count points here this morning in this quarterfinal.
This is a vital end for Burroughs because he needs to stop this charge. Now, if Duncan counts another 2 here to go 17-7 and a couple of doubles away from victory, Burroughs is not leaving himself in much of a margin. Faded out.
Duncan!
Now's the time for Noel to get in. Plenty of room, nothing obscuring his view in front of the jack. It's on its way. Well, from this angle, it looks as though it's in.
Okay. Duncan!
It wasn't in. Well, well, well.
Yes, Brian Duncan, Bassmaster, £5,500, the Waterloo. That was a few years ago now. Top crown 3 times. Warrington handicap, he's a specialist there.
Winner of the Talbot in 1974, that famous old competition, and alongside me, Roy Armson, you played in the very last final of the Talbot.
Yes, a very sad occasion in many ways, Hugh. It was the last final played at that green, and also I lost in the final, so it was doubly sad for me.
And it rained.
And it rained.
Just give up, Noel.
Interesting though, Brian, that with all the great honours that Brian Duncan has achieved, he's never yet won the All England, which I think I'm right in saying. Amongst crown bowlers, despite the glory of the Waterloos and this sort of competition, that is the big one from a bowler's point of view.
It is from a player's point of view. It's a lovely title, isn't it, the All England? He's got to get through from his county first, one of the qualifiers from there. He's been there a few times, and of course Terry Moss did him when Duncan was a hot favourite, and Moss caught him and did him. That's the nearest he's got.
Brian Duncan was the favourite for this, and has Noel got one at last? Yes.
Okay.
A lot of appreciation for Noel Burrows, who's been under the cosh here for so much of this match. 8-16 down he is, and now he has got to go on a little gallop of his own.
Yes, he kicked the mat just a foot to his right, so they're entitled to move it a metre. And he's trying again along that edge. Not quite gone into the mark that cuts back sharply on itself, but it's certainly a nice teasing one for Duncan, because he will play far enough.
I think ideally, Brian, if he counts this end, he would really like to come back to the scoreboard, but he's frightened if he loses that end, Brian's back on his mark.
Exactly, he wants to keep him out of the corners now, Roy. If he can settle on a piece of land that suits his game, he really ought to now. Not an easy one, but it goes too short, of course. He's within striking distance, and Duncan is a lethal striker.
And Brian Duncan has beaten the first bowl of Noel Burrows. Through there, and that takes him into a very, very solid situation. 18-10. Brian Duncan leads.
And this is going to be an interesting change, because Duncan now has to try the opposite corners. I don't think he'll be too worried, but we have seen the problems in this corner, that if you miss it, you can finish up either side of the jack and a long way off. Not gone all the way.
No, he's I think he's dropped it short of the really dangerous area, Brian.
And that's an indication of how far they can peg away. Just not right with his length. Burrows better?
It stops, but no, it's
gone out. I think
it's gone out.
Not much, you know.
The buyers working against the little hillocks. Yes, that's rolling down just nicely. I would say he's probably holding 2 here.
Not much in the others.
Yes, it may be a measure. Duncan certainly fancies 2. Burrows is going to want to work hard, but he's fallen behind.
He's picked up a hill there that he didn't want. Taking him right out.
It's certainly one. Crowd shouting only one.
Measures!
For the very first time in the game, then, it's a measure. And I can't say I blame Brian Duncan one tiny bit. He's on 18-10. In actual fact, he's on 19-10 because he's got a single here.
Measure this one
Just
first,
the question
please.
whether he wants two or he's going to get two.
Anxious moment for everybody around this packed green. There's Mrs. Duncan watching, the lady with the white cardigan at the back with daughter Lee just going to the picture, 16-year-old Lee, wife Gail.
Measure this one first.
Anxious moment.
Frank Kitchen indicates two, and this could be it. Noel Burrows, a very disappointed player at this moment. Brian Duncan really has been bowling with total concentration and a high degree of skill. Running in from underneath, but winding up very short.
Not bad though. We've just seen that wood settle after running on a few inches. It's not an easy mark.
It's beginning to home in now from Noel Burrows, and again
Just
he's
give
short.
up,
Yes, into a little gully. Duncan wanted to put one there again, make it that much more difficult. Still got some running to do. Go on, yes.
Well, it's good enough at the moment. That's the one he wants for a place in the semi-final. And Noel just with this one bowl left.
Fair enough, he wins.
Well, he's trying. He's given it a lot more to do. Now it should trickle down. That's going to win it.
Yes. Noel Burrows is in a very deep pit. To win this now, he's got to win 10 points in a row. And that is asking an awful lot.
That is asking
against
something.
Brian Duncan, the
My
way he's
goodness.
playing this morning.
Hey, I'll tell you what, he's taking him back into the corners. Why not? Roy, at this stage, you may as well take him in the corners and put one up.
Yes, he's figuring out now that he's played him on three-quarter marks and Brian's come through and hit things. If he can play decent balls in the corners, difficult to get at, difficult to strike. It's a last resort for him now.
Level, Noel.
Duncan's road looks different and it looks short.
I wonder what you could get on Noel Burrows winning this quarter-final now.
Well, you could get 7-4 before they started, and they'll get a lot more than that right now. Anybody brave enough to invest a few, Bob? Because this looks to have a reasonable road. It's a question of length.
Is this the winner? Is this the match winner?
Every chance.
That is the match winner. That's the one that takes Brian Duncan through to the semi-final. Puts out Noel Burrows here this morning with a superb display of bowling. 21-11.
21-11. Brian Duncan indeed. Looking good this morning. The corner player Duncan got him away to a smashing lead. 9-1 lead. I felt, Roy, that Noel Burrows really was scratching to stay with him.
Yes, you could see him racking his brains, trying to think of a way to shake this man off. But Brian's confidence was sky high, because the two things in bowling that gives Brian confidence is leading. And his leading this morning was very good. And the other thing is, he loves to get twos. Those two things, if he can do those two things, then he is, without doubt, the #1 player.
Well, he certainly was doing it brilliantly this morning, and the way he trickled that last bowl in to get the single that he needed on a very difficult mark across the green was quite superb. Roy, have a look at that now.
Yes, it's coming up now. It's just a question of the length. It's smack on the road. He just had to judge the length, and it's a perfect ball.
And that's the one that condemns Noel Burrows to £300 as a quarter-final loser and sends Brian Duncan forward into the semi-finals.
Back live, Brian Duncan, congratulations. Yet another tough match.
It was a very hard game, and I think I led a little bit better today, and just one or two little rubs really when Noel run them in the back of us a couple of times, which just makes a difference in the game sometimes.
Noel, just wasn't your day.
Yeah, I think early on in the game I didn't really get any of the rubs at all. Brian was just a couple of his leads probably would have gone a good yard or two through, and he hit the jack, and you know, it's just the way it goes sometimes. It just goes wrong for you at the wrong time.
I know you've been a little bit worried about your lead bowls this week so far, but you must have been delighted today, particularly the way you started.
Well, actually all the games I've played I've started off very well and seemed to have a sleep halfway through, but today I've kept going and when Noel's played a good one later on, I've just happened to beat it and get another one off it, which has just made the difference at the finish.
It's probably the biggest problem in the game, isn't it, if you can't get the block?
Well, that's right, yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, all credit to Brian. I wish him the best of luck, of course. I just feel as though I didn't get quite the rubs today, and, well, that's how it goes sometimes. You've got to live and bear it.
If we can just sort of rub salt in the wound a little bit, Noel, I would like to take a look at one of the ends here, where you were bowling one of those shorter marks. It was in that area on the far side over there, where you seemed to find a length, and then Brian came and beat it with a marvellous shot, didn't he?
Yeah, he just happened to get the jack right and follow through and go down the hill with it, I think, if that's the end we're talking about.
That's it.
I mean, that could really have gone anyway. It could have gone to my back ball, but fortunately for Brian, it followed through. You know, you can try that a million times.
Never play one so near all day, ever.
It was like a piece of elastic down there, wasn't it? I think it was the previous end, when, or the end before, when two bowls actually came back.
Oh, they were nearer the jack by at least a yard at one time, and they came back almost towards where you'd sent them from. Yeah.
Well, Brian, you're in the semi-finals. The next game on, Bob Hitchin against Martin Halliwell. Who do you think your semi-final opponent will be?
Well, I don't know. Bob Hitchin's been playing very well, but so has Martin Halliwell, really. I mean, it's just on the day, and like Noel was saying before, one or two little rubs, and it just make a hell of a difference.
Thanks very much indeed, gentlemen. Good game.